Right.
Live. Live we are. Yes.
Live, you say?
Live. Yeah. It's pretty good. Pretty good to be live.
That's the way. We live it.
I like it. Yeah.
That works.
Sure.
Yeah. That's.
Yeah. How is everybody?
Yeah. Happy birthday, Stuart. Almost.
My gods, you remembered.
In that, of course, it already was your birthday. But we haven't technically celebrated it yet here on Trekyards. So I wish you a not birthday, pre-birthday, almost birthday for when we do get birthday and the soon birthday tease.
Words. Yes. Saturday, I think we're doing the birthday thing for me. And then we'll do one for Samuel in like a week or two after that. So
yes. So come along
for that.
and celebrate your captain's reservation, resolving, movement around the sun, or the sun around him, depending how arrogant he is. You know. There you go.
Holy frack, Olivia's here with $2. Happy soon-to-be birthday, Samuel.
Yes, the horror.
Yes, I still have a cough. Relax. It's much better, but it still creeps up on me sometimes. You'll live, and so will I. Samuel, are you going to do a Stargate Universe versus BSG? That was asked by Raj.
Hard if Stuart can't talk in that said live. But also, I know why you say that, but they're different. What they're trying to do is quite different, so it'd be hard to compare them beyond the literal darker tone, visual. There isn't. Once you start to the surface layer, they're not the same show. Yeah. So no, but when Stuart eventually watches SGU, then we will. There you go.
Yes. And Ben, there is a door on Battlestar Galactica 2004 that says 1701. Yes, there is. Olivia throws in $2 and says Ricola. Actually, I have some Ricola cough drops upstairs. Creepy. Oh, it says 1701D, says the door. Okay, thank you, Kingdom of Vinland. All right, guys, yeah, we're here to talk about BSG and Star Trek. And we've already done this with Star Wars and Stargate. So, and of course, as soon as I posted this on Facebook, Salty Trekker commented saying, "Oh, I see. Notice we've been talking about BSG for the past couple months. You stole my thunder." It's like, no. We've had this planned for a while, and I haven't watched any of your BSG stuff.
And also, who are you?
Oh, that's harsh.
No offense.
Yeah. So, anyway.
Because I sent you all 3 thermals on the same day, so it was like, here's the first 3, Stuart. Go.
Yes, yep.
Take, good man.
Yep, I know. And Raj, I'll have to talk about that on my birthday stream, because this isn't about my birthday today. But I had a pretty good day, so I'm glad you're asking. But thank you. Please tune in for the birthday stream, probably on this. Well, let's be this Saturday. That's the theory. LDG, salty who? You know who, LDG. Don't be so silly. But anyway, yes, everybody hit that like button if you can.
So I was just emailing someone back from Resurgence who finally got back to us after like a week. So I thought I'd jump right on that. Yay, maybe.
Yep, Resurgence.
Yes, BSG. I'm going to start sharing. I'm excited to talk to you about this topic and see what definitive we come up with. Because we are the definitive...
Sure.
Ready to go about this, so yeah.
Sure.
Definitive. Cinema.
Definitively, yeah. All right, he's going to share this around, and in the meantime, I'm going to tell you guys to hit that like button. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Join the channel if you're able to. Be part of our fleet. We should add some BSG ships to the fleet. That'd be kind of cool. We could technically do that, actually, too. I'll have to ask Samuel when he gets back if we should do that. Would you guys be interested in seeing... Hold on. I'm going to actually do a poll about that. But in the meantime, guys, like I said, hit that like button. Don't forget to super chat in. We want to hear your thoughts about BSG, both the old and the new one, and maybe the upcoming one. I think there's one coming up. So let us know your thoughts on that. How it's is different than Star Trek and how it's similar. We want to hear your thoughts. Also, please help us out on Patreon if you're able to. Patreon/Trekyards. Yeah, any way you can help support the channel, please do. There are links down below to the awayteamgear.com, it's a Trekyards page, as well as Teespring and TeePublic. So go check them out and buy yourself some cool shit. So, should we add BSG and other franchise ships to our video? If you don't know what the fleet video is, if you join on the channel, on the YouTube channel here, or on Patreon, you get a rank and you get assigned a ship, and you get to see at the end of videos. And my fucking focus is all screwed up here. Focus is way up. What the hell? There we go. Apply. Yes and no. I'll just do that then. Alrighty. Yes, but we want to hear your thoughts on this matter, so please super chat in if you are able. Ask our community. There you go. You got a poll up. Go vote on the poll. Peacock won a new Battlestar Galactica, but I don't know if that's still happening. Maybe Sam has some insight on that. We will see. But yes, hashtag like spike. That's something I haven't used in a while. Thanks, Raj. Yes, hit that like button, guys. 31 people here, 24 likes. I'd like to get up to 50 likes if possible, so be sure to hit that like button and help us out in that way. Please do so. Yes. Hypno Amber says, I started a rewatch of Prodigy. Are you going to have a Star Drive ship like that in the show? In that show? Well, the Protostar is in our fleet video, commanded by an admiral. So if you want your own hero ship, you can just go join the rank of admiral. But yes, the Protostar is there. So.
Celestial.
Yes, that's my name.
Yes. Nice. So, what is your history with BSG? Both BSGs, because like Stargate, I gave my spiel. You've got a thoroughly different history of BSG than I do. So I'd like to hear about that to let people in on the Stuart behind it.
As you know, I grew up with the original one and rather enjoyed it when I was a kid. Even made little like Battlestar Galacticas out of Lego, and like would get, you know, when you get chocolate at Christmas, they come in the foil wrappers, so there's like gold on one side, silver on the other. I'd break off little pieces of that to put on as like flames because it was, you know, I'd get attacked, so little shiny bits of damage. So I loved BSG as a kid, and when the new one came out, I don't think I had the channel that aired it, first of all. But also with the casting of Katie Sackhoff as Starbuck, I was kind of like, what are they doing? I'm just going to ignore it. And kind of didn't watch it. I would check out little bits and pieces here and there, but it never really grabbed me very much. Then I finally decided to sit down and watch the entire thing. And my God, it is very well crafted and very well done. And yes, Katie Sackhoff is awesome as Starbuck. It's a different kind of Starbuck, kind of starts out the same and then gets much more in depth. So it's a different animal altogether. But I just always have loved the ship designs and stuff in BSG. Like, you can go back to the original ones, and I really like the way that the reboot treats the old one as like the way it should be treated, as the way a reboot should be. They even have the older style Cylons, they have the older style Vipers, which, you know. So yeah, there's a lot about the reboot that I absolutely adore, and having actually seen it all now, it's I mean, there are some, I wouldn't say issues with it necessarily. There's just some parts that are kind of boring and a little bit draggy. But other than that, I think the story really stands up. And I love the ending, how it ends. Ties into kind of like I was talking about with the Stargate one, with the ancient astronaut theory kind of vibe. So I love all of that. And yeah, I think it's really great. I need to watch it again. I've only watched the entire thing once, so it's not like I've got a super firm grasp on everything, but I do know the main, points and stuff. So anyway, yeah, that's kind of my history with it. So how about you? Did you watch the original one before the reboot, or I would assume not?
Well, it's it's one of those things that obviously the name Battlestar Galactica was in the lexicon for a while, and the Cylons and such, but obviously, England is a different country to America or Canada with different networks, etc. And obviously, the time I would have seen it before 2004, it's as the internet was coming out in a way that we could access it. But DVDs I think were a thing, but it was more VHS and then TV. And I don't believe the original BSG was on a channel that I never remember seeing it as a piece of media on any network ever.
Yeah.
But I do remember having seen bits and bobs because, of course, unless I was interested as a kid, I wouldn't sit down to watch it because, of course, if Dad's watching it in the front room, I might be doing something else. So I saw multiple bits of it. I'm pretty sure when I was like under 8, I saw the original episode, and of course, still this day, I'm vaguely confused if there's a pilot or a movie or a TV series because there wasn't. There was all of them. They changed them depending where they released them. So it is all of those things, and it's like, oh, okay, cool. So I think I saw the movie version of the first episode, which is just the first 2 episodes put together, I believe. But it was as a movie, and it ends really weirdly because, of course, it isn't a movie. It's 2 episodes of a TV series, which then has episodes. It's not as good as a movie.
And this is the reboot you're talking about? Right?
No, the original. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The way it was presented after its first run, it was confused.
Gotcha.
And I remember seeing the stupid motorcycles and thinking they were stupid back in the day.
BSG 1980. No, don't watch that.
Yeah, it's just it felt very that bit, whatever hard sci-fi may have been, it was just they're just doing it to be silly. There was no real intent to make serious TV there. Maybe they did, but it didn't come across even to young me. I do remember the kid with the dog. The dog was quite good. The CG was pretty good, and the actors were good. Yeah, like the art design was always very strong, and I watched a good chunk of it. I remember distinctly the casino episode.
Yeah.
That I remember a good chunk of, etc. But I've never sat down and watched the entire show because when do you think I'll go back and watch an 80s show? It rarely comes up in your day-to-day life with having new shows. But I had a good amount of respect for it, for what I saw, and the designs, etc. I knew people liked it a lot. And I'd met, after the fact, I'd met many actors from the show, or the new one, but also some obviously crossovered. So when the new one was coming out, obviously I was intrigued, because of course I was, but also the trailer was very good. Like the initial marketing was like, oh, this is clearly Battlestar Galactica, but they've made it again. There was no sort of sell because it was like, oh, Dad liked BSG. Let's just watch the new one. And it's shockingly faithful, right? I remember sitting down and watching it, and that was definitely a movie experience because it's a long mini-series. And we weren't quite sure if we were even going to get a season 1, so it's quite like if we don't watch this, they're not going to get more. And I remember thinking the show deserves to have something happen because it's been dormant for so long. But the miniseries was really ambitious. The CG holds up to date. It's phenomenally well done. It was one of the first things to shaky cam of its kind, that sort of doc style in filming that was new. It then got piggybacked by dozens of things, movies and TV shows after. It started a new revolution. And the idea of like having a cameraman in space that fails to capture things, again, that was a brand new idea that they then got nicked throughout the years. I was very impressed by the first one. And then the show goes in weird directions.
I gotta ask, do we have a BSG LCARS? I believe we do.
I did turn it on. Why is it?
Oh, it's tracked.
Oh, what the hell?
I don't know, man.
I did swap to it. That's weird.
I want to address Lapiridan. I tried to watch the reboot, but hell, the camera. I never got seasick even once when I was at sea during rough weather, but that thing broke me. First time I tried watching it, I noticed it quite a bit. Second time, I didn't notice it at all. Once one of those things. Once you get used to it, it's non sequitur. I mean, the thing is with the space shots that Samuel was just talking about. That's great because it's at a huge distance, and there's like this zoom in and like trying to lock on. That's fucking great, because it's very relatable. The stuff on the ship with the just kind of always moving, it can be distracting if you hyper focus on it. But as soon as you kind of put that out of your mind, you don't even realize that it's happening.
It's also scene dependent, right? Some scenes it's ridiculous, some scenes it's subtle. Like that, it's all over the place because that's kind of how it vibes.
It's supposed to add to the experience of it being anxious or, something's going on. So I get why you're saying that. And yeah, that was one of my main complaints when I first tried watching this, because I tried watching it a few years ago with Sylvia, and we only got like most of the way through season 1. And I couldn't finish it, or we didn't finish it for whatever reason.
Although
I went back and watched it on my own. So
although Jay the Dog says the shaky space cam started on Space Above and Beyond in the mid-90s. Well, if it started there but didn't kick off until BSG in 2004, then clearly that didn't make as much of an impact as BSG did. So, because that's half a decade later, if not more, clearly that didn't make the wave the BSG did. So their version grabbed Space Above and didn't. Yeah, it affected you, good sir, with the shaky cam, but obviously everyone is different, right? Some people can ride roller coasters and get sick. Some people will never get sick. So not every show is for everybody. And if that affected you, then that's not maybe a show for you, and that's okay, right?
Yeah.
But
you're missing out on a good show, though.
Oh.
If that's your only issue.
It's funny. The only thing that bugs me in that regard is that the amount of film grain is absurd in the show on purpose to make it look grungy. And of course, CG is not rendered with film grain, so I remember talking to several people that worked in it, and they had to keep layering more and more grit and shit on the screen to match, because of course they're matching live action, and it's like you're losing detail. You have to actively make the CG look worse. Now, it can be effective, because of course, the less CG it looks, the more real it looks, but when you're like adding layers and layers and layers and layers onto it, it's like, this would look so much nicer, like clinically nicer, if they just cut the grain a bit. And there's on a big screen, the Blu-rays, the amount of little grain you see, because obviously I watched it originally in standard def on a standard def TV. The grain wasn't visible, pretty much, because it was too low resolution. You pump in the HD, and it's like, oh, well, that's just noise, deliberate noise.
Spin-off breaker though, $5 Australian.
Hey,
Synth Cylon Picard from Picard season 3 meets season 1 Adama. How do you think that goes relative to season 4 Adama?
Well, he is human, so I feel like more accepting than not a human. Like, Picard was a person who had a history. I think he'd respect the historical legacy of the man and wouldn't be as affected by he's now a synth versus you were made 3 weeks ago and you want to kill everybody. I'm not going to be happy with you.
That being said, his first officer was a Cylon and had all the memories, and it's the same kind of thing. The synth Picard and the
well, not quite, because Saul wasn't a person, then he was a person, then he lived a life as a person. So, if you start at 20 without memories and build a personality, you are a person of that time, right? He was broken by the experiences he had as a person.
Yeah.
It's not as if he was one of the main 6. He wasn't made with base memories. He actually had decades of knowledge and experience built up. So it's not quite. I know what you mean, but
Dan Ben, the lady who plays Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman, was in OG Battlestar Galactica until they killed her. Yes, she was Jane Seymour, and she looked amazing in that. She married Apollo, and then got killed. So
right.
There you go. Sean O'Sullivan, member for 6 months at the Rink of Ensign.
Hey.
Says Bears beats BSG. Bears beats BSG. Ronald D. Moore made the Voyager he wanted. Well, yes. That's the other thing. That the progression of the ship throughout the series it's quite impressive the way that they handled that. It went through some shit. That's all I can say. That was kind of cool.
But it would have been very depressing to see Voyager,
Yeah.
I mean, it would have been a horrible show to watch because, of course, the BSG has not got the optimism, has not got the discovery aesthetic. It hasn't got a being better aesthetic. You know, many people are drug addicts and alcoholics. I mean, it would have been a horrible show if he made it. You know, it isn't that he made his Voyager; it's that he got annoyed that he couldn't do certain things with Voyager, so he just made his own show.
Yeah,
he didn't. There's no Voyager in BSG really. I mean, the Galactica's not lost. It has a fleet of like 60 ships. You know.
Yeah.
Just saying. There's not a lot of Voyager in it. Oh, bye, Amber. Yeah.
I wish I could have got Dirk Benedict in it. I mean, they got Richard Hatch, who hated his character, but that's kind of the point, right? So,
yeah, well, yeah.
And
I'm sure they are. I'm sure they would have asked everybody to come back, but you know, you couldn't just have an older guys fest.
No, I think they asked him, and he flat out refused because what they did to Starbuck, he was very upset about that.
And you know, let's dig into that then. As you know, why was that even a problem in the sense of it's not the same show, it's not the same universe? Why should it make a difference? I never knew the problem because, of course, I didn't know the show enough to the old one to care.
Well, Starbuck was kind of like, I guess, kind of a hero, a swashbuckling, womanizing hero back in the original one. Kind of reminiscent to James T. Kirk, only a lot more, you know, brazen. Cigar smoking, gambling. He was kind of a cool, swaggery character. And when they changed it to a woman, I was like, well, that's completely unnecessary. And I just didn't watch it enough to see her progression. Like, I wasn't even a fan of Katie Sackhoff at all until I actually watched BSG. She's a fantastic actor and a really nice person, off screen, like on social media and stuff. So, and I've known her from quite a few things. I'm still not the biggest fan of hers, honestly, even with her being in The Mandalorian, but I have a lot more respect for her now. As for the character, though, it was one of those unnecessary changes that I don't know why they decided to do that. They didn't necessarily have to. It just seemed like change for the sake of change, and but they kept the cigar smoking, the gambling, they kept the rough attitude, the cockiness. That was all transferred over to her character. So it was basically the same character, just not as friendly, I guess. I mean, Dirk Benedict back in the 70s was a much more amiable kind of guy. You know, he somebody you'd want to know and hang out with. Her, not so much. She kind of like beat people up and cheated them out of there. You know, so I don't know. I think it was just it seemed like change for the sake of change, and it's just kind of like, why do you have to do that?
But it's odd because it sounds like the exact same character, give or take. Like extreme like intent to keep the same character. Yeah, even that she's a manonizer. Like, she goes after many men throughout the season. She's a man. She's a woman slut. Like, he was a man slut. Surely, like, there's
exactly
extreme comparison, really.
Well, they are quite alike. Yeah, exactly. But I mean, in the original one, Apollo and him were like best friends, and you know, like the leaders, squadron leaders. Mm-hmm. In this, they were more than best friends.
And they were best friends too.
Well, yes, they went a little bit in depth with that, with like his brother, you know, and then him, and then friends, and then it just kind of went everywhere. But I mean, that's trauma. That's good writing.
Well, it's how you integrate the cast better. Because I'm sure the original one, they were just all people, and this one they're far more integrated. Like, is Adama, is there Adama and Adama's son in the original? There's two Adamas. Because in the new one, there's Lee Adama and there's Captain Adama and Lee Adama.
Well, there's Adama, who's the leader of PSG, and then his son is still Apollo.
Okay, so that's still in the old show.
Yeah, but I don't know if Apollo had a brother, though.
Wow.
I don't think that was ever in the original. But yeah, that dynamic was the same.
Because it's also an odd thing to say change for change's sake. I mean, just the Cylons being humanoid is change for change's sake, you could say.
That also pissed me off a little bit.
You know, I mean, they wanted to change many things. It's not just the original, and each one had way more depth. I mean, you don't need 9 male leads that all don't. I mean, would you rather have been a man have a gay romance? Would that have been better? Less change?
Yeah, I could see something like that from Starbuck. Sure, I don't think it would have mattered really, but
that's less change.
Yeah, the other thing that changed when you bring that up, the new Vipers hated them. The new Cylon ships hated them. The new Cylon design hated it. I really wanted to see like an updated, 70s Cylon. 'Cause I love that look. Got one right back here, right? And designed by Andrew Probert, by the way. Worth pointing that out. So I didn't like the new look of things. I didn't realize there were older Vipers when
the second Cylon War.
Yeah, I didn't get into like all that.
Even though it's in the first like 10 minutes of the first one, you see a diorama of all the old stuff in one museum. It's like literally everything they pan by.
Yeah, I don't think I saw that though. Even.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, just those things. I hate the new Viper design. I'm so sorry, Eric Chu. I'm going to be seeing him in like a week, so it better be nice. Don't like the new Viper design though, but they do respect the older stuff, and they do a reboot. Like I said, they do it properly, and I really respect that. But I didn't know that at the time, so all the new designs really bothered me. Like the Cylons and their ships were just like, what the hell is that? Not interested. And then I saw the new Viper, and I'm like, oh.
Well, it reflects the organic nature of the way they progressed them. You know, they couldn't have fathomed organic tech back in the day, in the sense of it would just have been people. Like, they couldn't have realised it, right? They could never have built those really elaborate Cylon-based star organic things. Like, that's just, could never have done it.
And Dan is right, yes. Adama did have another son. That's right. He was in the first episode, and he died right away.
There you go.
But the thing about the original BSG that's I think bothers a lot of people is that, oh, my brother just died. Oh, so sad. Next episode, what? Let's go. There's no carryover of that dramatic impact.
Well, in fairness, didn't everyone die? Like their civilization?
Yes, exactly. That's the other thing.
I mean, if he's not pissed at that, everyone he's ever known being massacred in cold blood by the robots they built, I mean, I think he's not really a hold on to stuff kind of guy, I'm guessing.
The only one that seemed to do that really honestly was Adama. All the other characters just kind of went on about their thing and had their weekly fling or whatever. So
yeah. Well, and that's obviously the new BSG, the weight of the show built to the point of excess.
It's so oppressive sometimes. It's just like, this is a fucking slog and depressing to watch.
And that's part of my problem with the show. It gets too lost in some of its own storylines that they're not fun to watch. It makes sense, it's logical, and it's interesting, but it gets bogged down a lot of the good stuff. But then again, like the the stuff that resounds to me is, I think a mistake in general was locking them on New Caprica for a good like 7 episodes, and it's just this gritty, disgusting set of scenes, and everyone's fat and everyone hates life. But the escape is incredible. Both the space battle, losing Pegasus, and the Dharma's like sacrifice moment with his that stuff is truly incredible cinema.
Yeah,
that was worth it, but I would cut the first 7 down to like 2.5.
Yeah, but you needed that build up to be like, yes, let's get the fuck out of here. But you're right; it didn't need to be as long as it was.
No,
and everybody dying, everybody being it's
only so many people, Stop killing everyone.
Such a depressing goddamn shit.
But then, I mean, I watched this live, and I absolutely lost my shit when they choose this. Obviously, giant spoilers here. They're living it. Last episode, I didn't know it was a long episode of season 2. I didn't know it was going to be extended by 20 minutes. So I'm watching it, reach the 40-minute mark, there's a break. I leave, I make a drink, it plays again. I'm like, what? What? I come back in, I thought I just skipped the credits, right? Whatever. And it keeps playing, and then it's like a year later. It's like, what? Because you never do time jumps in series, right? That was never a thing. To radically change everything, and then to have them be screwed. That level of revolutionary narrative change was either going to work or not work. I don't think it worked tremendously well, but it was a drop your coffee cup, shatter glass, water goes everywhere moment of, oh my god, what have you done? But at least Baltar's getting laid all the time. Yeah. He says that. I mean, clear to know that.
I also like the spoilers for the ending. I don't know if I need to say spoilers.
Yeah, I know, right?
I also love that Earth, our planet, isn't actually Earth that they were looking for, but they were like, this is good enough. It's like, and then they dissipate and they create all these other civilizations, and that's the ancient astronauts theory thing, all the links and the stories that match, and that's really cool. I really love that aspect of it. But yeah, it's not even the Earth they were looking for. It just happened. They just, all right, this is fine. This is good. We're good here. And I hated that last ride with Adama and his wife, the president.
It's so sad though.
I know. I it didn't need to be that way. We didn't need. Well, again, this is the show that goes there, though. You don't need to see that closure, that
Yep.
ending. Yeah, you get it.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
So
And obviously, I picked DS9 as the comparative show here because, of course, you can't
yeah,
compare it to any other shows, really. Enterprise Season 3 a bit, but it was made at almost the exact same time, so they shared a little bit of zeitgeist, right? But BSG is such a unique show, I think, even still today, because it is very serious sci-fi in that they take spaceships very seriously. They take laws of physics very seriously. They go do things in the sci-fi realm, but they ground it so radically in the real that it is sort of people at their office, right? The ship is a thing they've had for 200 years. There's nothing special about the ship, but it's being fueled by special gas material they have to mine with other spaceships from planetoids they have to fight a space battle to get to from aliens that want to kill them. But it's all about the fuel to get to, like, it's layers upon the sci-fi, but with a very simple, we must shower together because we haven't enough rooms to have showers in. The grounding versus the sci-fi is a very nice balance that I don't really see. Expanse, I'm sure, is a close parallel, but I felt that's probably more fantastical.
so Starship Troopers, they're all showering together in that too.
Yeah, well, Troopers is a good
But that's just a
example.
military, thing. So
Yeah.
Scottish Nightmare says, "Oh, sorry." So Scottish Nightmare says, "How many Earths are there? There was only one that they found, but it was destroyed and annihilated. So that was the colony they were looking for, and then they continued on, and then found our Earth, right? So, yeah, I think they found the one they were looking for, but it just, yeah.
Well, I think the idea was that there was an original first colony which people from Earth came to.
Yeah.
And they found that, and it's like, oh no, but they had no idea what Earth really was. They just found a planet and said, Earth is good enough. Happened to be our Earth, and then they called it Earth.
Yes.
They found a planet that worked. They called it Earth. That is now our Earth. If it was the real Earth, first Earth, doesn't matter. No. But it is a person. It is a place where people were people. There were Neanderthals, etc.
Scottish Nightmare says Expanse is better than BSG. No, it's not. The Expanse is fantastic.
I still get to say.
Yes, Expanse is fantastic, but it's just different than BSG. I would not say it's better in any scope. They're both really fantastic pieces of sci-fi.
I've only seen a few clips of Expanse, but the set design seems more like they had more money, so they feel a lot less grounded. Even though they are grounded in the rules of the universe, they feel more sci-fi-y. BSG is so real.
Yeah, it's even the guns are like not futuristic guns.
Yeah, like that is special in what it's trying to achieve. Expanse seems more like sci-fi with giants, like similar, but whatever. Anyway, but Stuart, put a super chat goal in there. We've just started to hit the.
Just super chats. Give us super chats. It's that simple. We want to hear your thoughts, guys.
Yes.
Super chat in. We do read them all, and we want to talk to you guys.
It's almost the end of the month, guys. This is the time we count. So yeah, we'd love to get some thoughts.
And hit that like button as well. Let's get to 50 likes.
And let us know if you can hear this music sounding good. I just remembered. Do you hear clean trumpets, guys? Some impromptu test. This is a tease for tomorrow night. Same Trekyards time. Same Trekyards place. The drums, the sirens.
Yeah, you can hear it.
What are we doing tomorrow, Stuart?
Bessig verse. We're having David Bessig on to talk about. Well, if you haven't seen the last video with him, go check it out. Download the book, read the book. If you have questions for him, it's just the first chapter, the first part of the book. So it's the establishing of his universe in the NX era, and he's got some really cool stuff. So check it out and come and join us and ask him some questions live tomorrow. And
there's always the Stump the Bissig award for the best question.
Yeah.
Yes. Great. Okay, glad you guys can hear it. So then, how would you compare directly the Star Treks to the BSGs? In what ways are they comparable? In what ways are they not comparable? And what's the first instant reaction to that?
Voyager and BSG are pretty much the same. They're on a quest to get home. Or, well, not really home in Battlestar Galactica. They're just on a quest to get to a planet. And they have no real support along the way necessarily. They're kind of doing what they need to do. So Voyager is the automatic one that jumps out. as similar. I think for the dark grittiness and dramatic kind of storytelling, it's got to be DS9 that kind of wins the award as being most similar. But again, BSG took that depression and just whatever to the extreme that Star Trek never has. Even Discovery, people are like, the new Trek is so dark or whatever. I don't think Picard or Discovery even comes close to what BSG is. Like, the things that happen to those people impact them immensely and emotionally, as it would. In Star Trek, it's not so. Yeah, you know, might get mentions of like that happened, whatever, but it's not. It doesn't seem as. It was hard sometimes to watch BSG, just because frame of mind wise, it is quite depressing, and it's like, you know, the whole episode's just going to be bogged down. There might be one good moment, one funny moment, but generally you're not going to have a feel good episode necessarily. Star Trek doesn't do that. Really, I mean, even DS9 had like B and C plots in the stories that were kind of lighthearted. I don't know. Yeah, the two that stick out to me are Deep Space Nine and Voyager. Voyager, the premise of just traveling home, which is what Ron Moore, you know, he wanted Voyager to be more, you know, down and out each week kind of thing on its slog home, but. Yeah, those are the two that stick out for me. Other than that, I don't think there's any other comparison to any other Trek, personally. But
what about the sense of the highs and the lows, as in of actual storytelling? I mean, we can't compare to TOS. Let's stick to DS9 because it's the most fair comparison. You know, where does DS9 versus BSG's actual story construction, payoffs, some moments, some writing? How do they sort of compare? Of course, one being, you know, 5-6 years later, TV had developed in terms of format, writing got crisper, sharper, etc. What do you think compared?
There's way more stakes on the line with BSG, and you feel them more. I think. Yeah, you feel like the death of Jadzia or whatever, you know, stuff like that. But it's not played the same, and it's not. I don't know. I just like you get emotionally invested in BSG. You get emotionally invested in like. All the characters, including the Cylons, which you're like, kill her, or whatever.
Yes, you do.
2 seasons later, you're like, I'm glad you didn't kill her. I would have, you know, stuff like that. DS9, there's always kind of like a little bit of a reboot almost every week or every season at least, where it's kind of like, things are not that bad. Yeah, they kind of get a little dark during the Dominion War, but I don't know. I don't know, man. It's just it's a different, darker kind of storytelling. Star Trek was never that. I don't know. I don't even know how to describe.
So, are you saying that even at DS9's darkest, it only relates to a mid-level darkness of BSG? At best.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, yeah. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah, and for me, and of course, guys, super chats your thoughts right now. Please, thoughts, comments, questions. It's obviously hard to compare because you have 7 seasons of 24 episodes versus 4 seasons of 24. It's a lot more development anyway. But in terms of, you know, they are both very character-based shows. They both have great special effects for their time. Both have large-scale battles, which the other shows don't really have, so that's cool. Both have killed characters, as in more meaningful than, say, Yar. Or Trip, right? Like that was.
BSG has a lot more twists too, I think.
Yes, and BSG is an odd one, obviously, because it is a. The season is an arc, but actually there are a lot of sub arcs inside that. Each episode is actually, for the most part, a standalone chapter in a story, which actually allows you to say, "Oh, it's them trying to find this water, or they're trying to find this guy," or like there's actually more standardized episodic format than you'd think in that show, with a really strong season arc and mini season arc, and each character has an arc, because of course Baltar's arc is entirely separate to this arc, but there's always like little developments. Like that's kind of shocking how many threads they're juggling, and yet still so episodic. Versus DS9, I mean, you've got, you know, what's Jake's arc for 6 years? Lost his wife, sad, be a friend, be a journalist. That's right. Like that's the arc. There's not really a lot to say for most people in DS. Now, as in over those years, now some lots and a lot of accidents, right? You know, Rom going to marrying the Dabo girl. They didn't even have a cast at the start, right? So all that stuff kind of just chemistry accidental. It evolved. BSG, they kind of had a plan. Yeah. But also, you know, they had to change along the way, and I know the writer strike affected them a bit. And I think some other stuff didn't do well for them because it kind of feels like they lost their way a bit. They shifted tracks a bit, you know. And I know they did not know the answer to the question of Earth when they started, as Adama didn't.
Yeah.
But also, how many seasons are you going to get? You shouldn't just keep a show going forever, especially a show where you only have 70,000 people in your entire possible arsenal of characters, and you just bombed a goddamn ship, losing you 1,000. Well, you lost your one luxury liner. You can't make another. That's it. Right? Whereas, you blew up the Defiant? Nah! Next week she's back! Right? Like, those stakes don't exist. Even DS9, you know. We self-destructed in terms of, like, the sabotage. It's fine. BSG, it's like, oh no, we cracked the hull of the ship. It can't do this, this, or this anymore.
Yeah.
We're running out of ammo. We can't shoot anymore.
There are actually a few more parallels. Like, I mean, DS9, you got the emissary aspect, the prophet kind of thing. In BSG, you got the whole mythical thing about gods and the creators and all this shit. Like, it's quite interesting in that regard. What was the other thing I was going to say about similarities? Shit, can't remember now.
Damon. That's funny.
So the mythological aspect of it
Yeah.
really creeped up in BSG, and I don't know if it's really ever explained. I don't know if I might have missed something.
It's God. I mean,
Yeah.
not much explanation. It's God.
Yeah.
And both the Cylon and the human god are the same god. That's kind of the joke.
That's the other thing. The Battlestar and Adama are trying to protect the entire fleet, but the fleet has a bunch of, you know, dissidents that don't want to necessarily be protected by the military, blah, blah, blah. You got all that shit, which Voyager initially had the premise for that with the Marquis on board. It very quickly just dissolved away. Whereas BSG keeps that and ramps it up at times. Where you got, you know, elements within your own fleet that are trying to, like, basically sabotage you as well. And yeah, it would be a tough situation to be in as far as Adama goes, honestly.
Well, when the premise of the show is about running away from the baddies who can kill you in one hit because they have nukes, you know, you don't want to have gunfights with them because, like they say, we only have so much ammo. They can sort of make new bullets, but you can't just make missiles at the rate you're shooting them. So they couldn't have battles every week. And you get that desperation as the show goes along a little bit as things get destroyed. I mean, you know, they do lose Vipers pretty much every single fight. Yes. So there's obviously Pegasus is the big restock, right? That's when things change. But of course, it's literally a flagship warship. It's got everything, right? That's fine. That they earned that, whatever. So stakes, you know, they need to maintain them. So doing the political stuff actually worked really well because we need to live together, and as Rosalind said at the start of the show, we need to make babies, like now. Yeah. If we don't, we all die. Babies, go. That's
the other thing. I love at the start of every episode, you just see the number of humans just drop. Even on her board, right? Yeah.
There's so many really biting elements of BSG that DS9. It's Star Trek, right? And I wouldn't want Star Trek with these biting elements. I really wouldn't.
Yeah.
It would, you know, I don't want to see suicide Klingon ships fly cloaked into a starbase and blow it up from the inside.
Oh wait, that happened once.
Yeah. But so there's this gleam of Star Trek that even at its darkest, you're still, you know, it's almost comical when you watch, you know, on the Defiant, they're calmly saying orders to each other, and the actors doing this to their chairs, and one spark's flying, and there's like that's their action. And then look at BSG, and there's these giant gunfights with you know, really visceral stuff. So the level is super different, and blood splatter, and Kane shoots her exo in the head and it destroys the wall worth of blood. Cisco's not going to shoot that anyone in the face and murder him with blood. He might, but it's
Scottish The Scottish Nightmare, hard to make babies when half the crew are Cylons, but yet the Cylons can make babies.
No problem.
They're actually kind of coveted.
That's actually kind of the meta narrative of the show, is that to stop the regressive war that happens every few thousand years, you've got to combine the genome and make a new race. That's kind of the point of the show.
Yep. Everything happens again.
Until we're able to make it stop. By combining and massacring the forces that disagree.
Very biblical.
Yes. And then there's, everyone has half related, because 150 men have babies with different sixes, but it's like we all have half. Wow, so many blonde children. It's weird. It's always it's always a strong gene. Oh goodness! But I whenever I think of BSG, I think of really, really strong writing and acting. That's not what I think of first when I think of DS9. There's a lot more of it, and a lot more worse DS9, I think, than bad BSG. But that's just the nature of having more episodes, right? That's always going to be the case. It's like a soap opera has more better episodes than any show, and more worst, because they have more episodes. But I don't know if there's apart from Pale Moonlight, right? There isn't that many Measure of Man level writing episodes of DS9, but there's a lot of extremely compelling BSG that is just like they learned from the 90s and the 2000s allowed for that. They didn't have as many handcuffs when it came to storytelling. They could swear, they could have these really dark stories which led you to have emotions that felt real, because of course if you brought in a performance, if Cisco did Pale Moonlight in season 1, you wouldn't think it was the best written piece ever. There'd be nothing behind it. BSG, you go 6 episodes in and you're like, damn, that was an emotional piece, because the Lee Adama gets shot by bloody gets shot, and the emotion of dealing with her and almost strangling her, it's so real, it's so legitimately, is it even acting, right? That stuff is so, my brain's not going to those moments in DS9, but there's so many in BSG, right? I'm being too positive to BSG.
No, you're absolutely right.
Okay.
Bill Barkley, though, somebody asked this earlier when you were sharing.
Yeah.
By the way, guys, vote in the poll. Do you want us to add some BSG ships to our fleet video? Let us know. But Bill Barkley asked, so what's happening with the new Battlestar Galactica series? I haven't heard anything more about it. And I'm not up on it. I don't know if you are or not. If you've heard
nothing's happening.
Okay. Perfect.
Nothing's happening for ages,
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing.
Do you need another one? I don't know. Probably.
Oh yeah, it'd be there's stuff you can do. It's such a fun universe, and the designs are so iconic. Nothing's happening. It's like the Stargate show. Nothing's really happening. Or like Star Trek 4. Nothing's really happening.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm sure many things have been written. But...
Usually you have kind of like a leg up on what's going on with that stuff. So.
Yeah, obviously, some networks got sold off. MGM, of course, being the big one that changed the political landscape. Streaming, if things weren't commissioned when stream was big for lockdowns, like we needed material, that stuff was obviously a big boom in streaming. If it didn't get in that race, then now we're post-streaming boom where they're trying to save money because they spent loads of money. So now everyone's recessing their own media. Now you've got the writer's strikes, of course, that's paused everything. So this is not a moment in history where things are being commissioned. And anything science fiction is both a niche audience and expensive. It's by nature not a good thing, versus a cop show is medium and cheap. Get an expensive actor, more expensive, more reach. That's why there's lots of them, lots of reality shows. But how often do you remember, police procedurals from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and yet how much we're talking about Star Trek, the 1960s show? Some have a legacy, but legacy doesn't pay the bills tomorrow. It pays it in 10 years, right?
Yeah. Speaking of, guys, hit that like button. I want to get up to 50 likes. And You need to super chat in and tell us your favorite moments
We've
from
had
BSG.
what, 2 super chats in 50 minutes, guys? It's kind of crazy. Does no one care about BSG? Goodness.
Wow. So let us know your favorite moments, anything you
Yeah.
want us to talk about, whether it be like plot summaries, anything, characters. We want to hear your thoughts. You can't just keep talking without any kind of input.
Yeah. You guys have way more thoughts on Stargate and Star Wars. You have no thoughts on this, really. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's sad.
It's really sad because BSG is great, right?
ESG is great. We've had a lot of good things to say about it thus far. I mean, I have nothing. Well, I have nothing but good to say about it. But there are things that bother me about it. Like I said, just the depressing tone of it. Sometimes it was just hard to watch on a particular night. Wasn't feeling the best to begin with,
yeah, well, it's one of those shows where it sings by its own tune, and because it's so narrative driven, not sorry, story driven, but narrative driven, as in there's such a through line of loads of elements. If you don't like where one through line is going, it will affect the episode enjoyment for yourself. Versus DS9, TNG, whatever, where for the most part it's it's a Riker episode. Do you like Riker? Yeah. No. Storyline? No. Yeah. Moving on.
Yeah.
But if they commit to 7 episodes of Lee dating a hooker, and he'll be a dad sort of, and it's like, did it work? Yeah. Do you like it? Like there are streams of that season of that show where if you don't connect with something, it's not going to be as good. But other things are just like, wow, that's really, really amazing, right?
Yeah.
And there's plenty of each because they go deep and they go dark, and there are reactions like they didn't plan to do New Caprica, and then they did, and they do these civilian trials to kill people who are sympathizers, and they kill some of the main secondary characters. They didn't picture that when they were doing the show, but that was sort of a accidental evolution. And it's just, I don't want to see Gator getting killed.
Yeah.
Jesus freaking Christ, he's a cripple now. That's not fun. I get it.
Yeah.
But then it's really sweet to see, Tyrell fall for Callie, who've been rooting for since episode 1, right? It's really sweet. Really, really, they have a kid, and all the babies getting born throughout the show, and you really relate to them. And I always remember from season 1, it was such a really, really good idea of them, to reveal, of course, what's her name? Sharon being both Cylon and being a Cylon right at the start, right at the end of the first episode, first big twist, and follow 2 side stories of 2 different Sharons in the first season, parallel, and you end up killing one, liking the other, who's the villain, and then turns to be good, and then becomes a full hero the entire rest of the season, to the point of ruining against her entire race. And it's so compelling, because you're like, no, she's good, stop beating her up, please.
It's one of the other problems that I had when the show started. Boomer, they changed Boomer as well. He was a black guy in the original.
Oh, yeah.
So I was just like, whatever. All those changes just kind of did it in for me.
But she's so compelling as an actress, though. That lady, Linda. Yeah, I think so.
Bill Barkley says, what Trek shows are already in the can that are coming up? Pre-writer strike. Stranger World Season 2. Season 4 of Lower Decks.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Lower Decks. Discovery Season 5, unfortunately.
Well, no, because if they haven't written the subsequent episodes, that'll be on pause.
I think they did though.
I don't know. That would have been a quick turnaround. I know they weren't filming it yet.
Anyway, so
although it is in Canada, so maybe they.
I don't know about Season 2 of Prodigy. I think that's in.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah,
it's all written. Okay, there you go.
Yeah. Oh yeah, a long time ago. Yeah.
Okay, good. So yeah, quite a few.
And Academy is also written as well. It's like a chunk of that.
Are you kidding? Oh no.
Yeah.
That's a shame. Patrick throws in 11 euros, so thank you so much.
Super.
As I missed the captain's birthday countdown stream, here is my belated birthday support. As for BSG, love the show. The relationship between the characters are very well written and portrayed. Yes, absolutely. Thank you for the birthday donation. We're doing another a birthday celebration for me on Saturday, so if you can make it, please stop by. I'll be probably getting very drunk during that one. God damn.
I've been buying booze for my real life birthday party, but I won't dig into that because that would be several deaths worth of booze downstairs. So I'll stick with my normal stash, but I have a lot more in the house to play with if you guys are going to force me to get sloshed. Just saying, I have a lot now.
Captain Astro says I had to take a break watching BSG halfway through because it's so dark and depressing. With that said, it's a masterpiece of television. Should be the benchmark for modern science fiction. Yeah. I feel your pain on that one. I had to take a couple nights off just watching it sometimes, just to, yeah.
But it was a really, really golden era. I don't know if there's a more golden era of sci-fi television, because on Sky, for 4 years, you had Star Trek Enterprise, Stargate SG-1, Stargate Atlantis, and BSG. Wow. And then, if your Star Trek show is hands down the weakest of the 4, you're saying something, right, about how strong the other 3 are. My goodness, that much television. It was 2. Yeah, I think it was 2. It was definitely 2 on one night, and then 2 other nights. It was that's an astounding sort of back to back. It was such a joy to sit down and watch like 2 hours of really good sci-fi. I think Enterprise was on Wednesday, BSG and Atlantis was on Thursday, SG-1 was on a different day. But yeah, you cannot watch Enterprise because you're a fan, but you didn't enjoy most of the episodes until season 3. Because you had these to compare to, right? Atlantis and BSG are just so much better. If Enterprise was kind of like a 4 or 5 out of 10, BSG is like a 7, 8, 9, 10. Atlantis is a 7, 8, 9, 10. It's like not even close. Because that was a golden 3 years, and then Enterprise stopped, and we still had the Stargates and BSG, and then Stargate continued after BSG. Boy, I mean, who was there at the time? Because that was is there a more golden era of sci-fi to have 3 shows on the same day, on the same like 2 or 3 day spread with a 4?
I wasn't watching all of them like that.
Yeah, because obviously you've had Babylon 5 and DS9 at the same time. Okay.
Yeah.
And I guess Voyager was something. Yeah, I guess Voyager at the same time. But that's only 3. You had some modern, Killjoys, Expanse, and Dark Matter.
Yeah.
Okay, what legacy of 2 of the 3 of those had, right? Let's not pretend they're groundbreaking, whatever. But both Stargates, BSG, Enterprise, that is some legacy sci-fi, etc.
Yeah. Guys, super chat in. We want to hear your thoughts, and the support would be much appreciated for the end of the month. So if you can, please do so.
Yeah, we really need support right now.
Want to end this poll and do another poll?
Yeah, read out, Stuart.
We'll close out this poll. Should we add BSG and other franchise ships to our fleet videos? Yes, 57%. No, 25%, and maybe at 19%. So.
Well, okay.
I think it'd be fun to mix them in. Sprinkle some in would be fun. All right. Hit that like button if you haven't done so already. If you're just joining us, what are your favorite episodes of BSG? Your favorite storylines? Your favorite characters? Was it when Starbuck came back with a brand new Viper after supposedly dying? Because I was like, the hell is this? Yeah, that kind of got me. So let us know. We want to hear what you guys have to say. And oh my God, the way, that's the thing that annoyed me, actually. The way that Starbuck just ended. It's like, hey, Apollo, how's it going? Bye. Just gone. What the? Okay, what? Explain this to me, somebody, please.
I mean, unfortunately, it's not hard. She was an angel.
I know, but
done. It's shockingly so. Yeah, it's God had to be a bit more.
It was depressing as hell to have that happen, though.
I know.
It's the same episode that Rosalind dies in.
Oh, the last episode is like an hour 20. It's a really long episode.
Yeah.
The last jump, which will stop, which will break our back, and we'll never be able to move out of the system ever again. And it does, and the entire ship ripples and waves, and that's it. It is now destroyed as a spaceship. And we can't just leave it in orbit, so we're going to fly into a sun. It's like, oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
But that long episode is very intense. I remember watching it, being like, holy shit. There's so many holy shit elements. One of my favorite pieces from that one, because of course you have, at a certain point the entire show, because in season 1 you had the Caprica team and the main team, so there was already a split, and later on you have Baltar on the Cylon ship, so you have the Cylon perspective and you have our perspective, so that's 2 different teams. and both see each other, which was such a wonderful thing. When you finally get to, because Gaius Baltar had been following as he's seeing somebody. Nah, it's just a fiction of his imagination who gets him really aroused and gives him ghost blowjobs often. But hey, he's an imaginative guy, right? And then all of a sudden you meet the real Six, and she sees him, and he's in her brain, but they're what? And then you see them both meet each other in a goddamn corridor gunfight. It's like, oh my god, it's you! Oh my god, it's you! And here are both of our angels. Shit, it's all real.
And then the real ending, where they're both still around, and Ronald D. Moore makes a cameo, reading National Geographic.
Yes.
About finding this archaeological.
Yes.
Like, that's just, wow. I like it. I like the twist on that.
There were some really exceptional payoffs in the last episode.
Yeah.
And yeah, to have both the angels meet and show it's all grounded, and then it really makes you think. Yes, there's a guiding force at the start. It does change the vibe of the entire show, of course, because of course it would, right? Because I always liked, Hassan's put a chip in his brain. That's a good enough reason for me, right? That's cool. That's all I need. But then to see Six talk to a Gaius Baltar and be not, teased, tormented, because of course that is season 1 Baltar. That's misogynist, ladies' man, version 1 in theory, right? So they each kind of see each other, and my Trisha Halfer, her seductive yet serious yet vicious performance, really incredible, and in very wonderful red dresses, etc. Really, really striking sort of simple visuals. And then when you see her again, and she does genuinely love him, and because she saved him from a nuke blast, right? There's love there. It's just goodness.
Yeah. Patrick though throws another €6, so thank you so much.
Yes.
We love the idea of adding BSG and Stargate ships to the fleet, but then again, I would still want to be in command of a starship, a Starfleet ship personally.
But would you enjoy a brief respite on an alien ship?
Yes.
I mean, some are faster, right? Because how much faster is a BSG ship if it can? It's instant, but it's less distance. Is it not faster by that definition? You can go less far.
And the Pyridon is a question. With those other universe ships, do fighters also come into the fleet? It'd be cool to have like a Viper and have like one pilot. That'd be great. Actually.
Yeah.
It's a possibility. It might have like 5 of them and like 5 pilots.
This is Viper Squadron 6.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool, actually. So if we ever get in a space fight as a fleet, sorry, you ain't taking much with that.
Yeah. John Colicos was the best Baltar. Oh my goodness.
I mean, how would you compare as knowing both? Because the Baltars are pretty different.
A little bit radically different. Baltar in the 70s was the typical bad guy. The sniveling, trying to protect his own life, do anything to survive, betray humans, that kind of guy. This Baltar is a lot deeper. He thinks he's doing good, and then, convinces himself that he's doing good, and there's a lot more to him. It's a totally different character, in my opinion. I don't know which one. I mean, they each fit their own show, though. The 1970s BSG is much simple. Bad guys and good guys, and it's fine. Yeah. But anyway.
Because I don't think, from what I've seen, I like the acting in the original, but he seems very sort of flat in that he's baddie.
Yeah, he's a one-beat character.
He's not compelling. He's the way of having not a Cylon have to be the baddie, because just seeing a helmet doing this would not be compelling acting. That's it, right? That's it. There's nothing else there.
Yeah.
And yet you get the new one, and it's I mean his acting is just ridiculous, right? I mean, it's crazy good acting. The way he becomes president, he becomes lead scientist, and he's hiding, and it's just oh my goodness. And does he change? Yes. Does he change for the better? Yes. Boy, what's funny, I've got some signs from him that I'm very proud of that we've offered before on Indiegogos, and he was very engaged because he actually was a fan of BSG. You know, he actually, I think, from what I can recall, he lived in the area. Obviously, he was filming the scene, and he went to the production houses, and he went and looked at the VFX house. And he walked through and had a tour, and he saw people, and he was engaged by the design work. He liked the design work, and when I did a render from design, he knew exactly what company made it and when, and what it was called. And that's to know your own VFX house, and to respect their work that much is a pretty, you know, he was engaged. That was like 15 years after the show, or 10 years.
That reminds me that a friend of mine, a cosplay friend from London here, he actually was in the miniseries. He played one of the Viper pilots, background Viper pilots. It's a picture of him with some other pilots and the full-size Viper prop.
Oh.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So.
I mean, yeah, to have got a picture with one of those Vipers would have been so wonderful, because, you know, there was so much practical made. And of course, you know, they were physically doing Viper scenes. The full Viper was made, and they obviously, you know, green screened around it, etc. But it was a lot of real. I love the dingy little Raptor sets. I've always loved the Raptor. I think it's really cool and ambitious, because of course, any ships in CG that you see the cockpit of, you have 3D people, or see the actual actors. That's a lot of extra work to have people, right? People in the cockpit. But I mean, that was a very forward-thinking CG team. And guess where that team came from, Stuart?
Don't know.
Star Trek.
There you go.
Same, not the exact same team, but a lot of the people went from Babylon 5 to Star Trek Voyager to Star Trek Enterprise / BSG to then BSG. So it was literally the life's blood of Star Trek that let the team at BSG do its great work. And how crazy and cool is that?
Yeah, no kidding. I'm trying to find the picture of my friend here with the Viper. Hold on. I will get to the super chat in just 1 second.
Yeah, let us know what you think, guys. Because, you know, where does that ship, where does that show factor in your list of sci-fi greats? Because I always think of it as being one of the actual greats. BSG, despite there being many things, many elements I fundamentally disagree with. But there's so many core strong elements that just, you know, that are just very, very good.
All right, I got this here. I'll send it to you. It's one picture of him. There's another one I know with a bunch of other actors, but anyway, I'll send you this one so you can show it. So you wouldn't mind, obviously. There it is.
What are you gonna send me?
There you go. It's on the Facebooks. All right, Viron Victus, $2.
Thank you.
Love DS9 more, but with all of the filler DS9 episodes, BSG is greater. Well, I kind of like the filler episodes, though. It kind of helps it be more watchable sometimes, to like have a more lighthearted, you know, thing going on. Because that's something I think DS9 did very well. They could still have the serious war stuff going on, but you got a B and a C plot as well, which are more just about Rom or, you know, Lita or something that's kind of silly to take your mind off of things for a minute or two. Whereas BSG just drills down on how much these people are impoverished and like going through hell.
But also, by doing that, you get something as simple as, you know, there was sunshine, and that's this joyous moment, or they get to dance, and that's a like the lows generate the giantest of highs, right?
Yeah.
A hug at the end of a day, and these are all moments I can think of that are just, wow, this was a thing, you know? Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, it's him having a smoke by the Viper.
Fancy. Yes.
Yeah.
And did BSG even do filler episodes? Because I think it's so many continuing... There are episodes I don't like as much, but I don't know if filler's ever the right word, because every single episode progressed something. Distinctly progressed something.
I would say no. I don't think there was any filler episodes at all. I mean, there may have been filler moments, but
There was drawn out stories for me.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say filler episodes.
Yeah.
Because everything had a reason to do, and I and I get why. It's just, if you don't agree with Kara being locked in a basement house, getting loved by a Cylon with a fake like that shit's. But I get it. Like, there's a horrible logic, and but I don't like it. But I was like, that's why I do think season 1 and 2 are best, because they highlight the premise before it gets screwy. Because of course, New Caprica just ruins all the characters mentally, all of them, and they never recover ever. They return to some semblance of function by season 4 when you get the grander Cylon themes, but I mean they're all broken mentally. Leah Dharma had to leave the race, the human race, and think, do I now have to repopulate the race with like 2,000 people? And Commander Admiral Dharma's smoking because he doesn't care about life anymore.
Yeah.
There's only so many cigarettes, but also only so much life. I can't kill myself with it. I'll grow a moustache, and that equals I don't care to live anymore. Fuck, moustache.
That's the other thing. I'll send you another picture, by the way. His first officer, the wife who was just a slut.
Ellen Ty.
Yeah, I fucking hated her so much. Like, she was just such an awful human being. I felt so bad for the poor guy. I know, but and then try to twist it at the end that they really did love each other, and it's like, fuck, I don't know. It's a lot of things like that irritated me, because it's just like, this is the worst kind of person. Why would you even? She's taking up air and space on your ship when you don't have that luxury. Get her the fuck out of an airlock. Come on.
But you need to make babies.
Women
are far more valuable.
She's a cougar. She's way too old to have kids. Come on.
Well, no, but she's a Cylon, therefore she's got strong.
Oh, Jesus Christ, yeah.
And that's great, because they had no idea she was a Cylon until they did. That was their first twist character. And I do find it, like, it was a really powerful bring back. Because it's like, oh, damn. And it's, they fight over the eons, all their versions of lives. It's just, destined to be together because that's who they are. And yet, this version of their lives went in wrong directions that led to whatever.
I thought it was so stupid, too, that all the Cylons were, like, people that we had known. And I know they're trying to make it seem like, ooh, surprise. But I thought that was so stupid that they'd all be in the one place and survive, just without knowing they're Cylons. It's just dumb.
Well, it's twofold. It's not an accident. They were all placed there, right? Because they were moved by other Cylons to be in positions of note, which is why they.
But how they know the Battlestar was going to survive the initial attack and stuff? Like, it's
well, the
silly.
Galactica they knew was going to survive because they never attack it.
Well, I also didn't think it would be a problem, though.
Exactly. But they knew who would survive. Like, they knew whatever would survive. But also, it's not just them. Obviously, it's God that's placed in there anyway, and God's also helping to move the Cylons. That's the great get out of jail free card. They all had to be there because God needed them to be there, etc. Because this is the third coming of man's recoming of Cylons and blah.
I don't know. That kind of is kind of for me. I don't know.
But she was the least placed. That was kind of the joke. She made no impact in the overall story in terms of, like, she's Saul's wife. Good. Like, she's the one that didn't matter in a good way, right?
She's the one that made him an alcoholic, and then,
I
don't know.
And then she bangs her own son, who's obviously an older actor who's played the guy in Quantum Leap, who's really good in that role. By God, he was a prick. He's great. But, I mean, I can't name many, if not any other shows that do identical characters as well. because 6 was like 8 different people, distinct,
Yeah,
and 7 were truly distinct. And you never really thought twice about these continuously being killed, not killed, seen, not seen, and different. That's hard to do, and they did it very, very well.
Yeah. Yeah, and then there's like plot points with the resurrection ship, like just destroy the fucking thing. I'm like, just destroy it, and then later it's good that they didn't destroy it, and it's like, oh my god, they really know how to feel your emotions, and that's a sign of good writing, honestly. So yeah, the show's good.
And also something as simple as we need to buy a new stealth craft, and just to get the material, because obviously we know how to build stealth armor. It's really hard. We don't have factories or materials, so we have to scrounge off things, and it takes them like a month. And he does it, and they got to make one, and then it blows up. They can make no more. Like limitations like that are so fun, because then you feel like, yes, we did it, and then oh no.
Yeah. And also, the organic Cylon ships, they kind of bothered me a little bit. I thought that was kind of stupid. Especially when Starbuck's flying one, and she's like, the goop and bills. Yeah,
she's literally squishing the guy's brain to move.
Yeah.
I mean, would Dirk Benedict have gone inside a squishy spaceship and pressed tubules? I don't think he would have.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe.
I think Dirk has too many clauses in his contract saying no goo.
Possibly.
And yes, Muffet was introduced and then left. He lasted 2 episodes because old BSG, gone because it doesn't add anything at all.
I forgot there was a Muffet in the new one.
Yep.
Goddamn.
Yeah.
Dean Stockwell would have been a better archer. I just wish in the episode of Enterprise that Dean Stockwell was in, where he's the head of that prison, that there would have been one moment of anything that was related to Quantum Leap. Would have been nice. A little nod or an oh boy or something.
They do say one line. There is a line that they say somewhere in there. It's a direct reference, but it's mildish. I do remember there's something.
Have more fun with that kind of shit, guys.
Yes.
And original BSG had too much suede for goo. Yeah, the old uniforms. I'm dying here. Hit that like button if you haven't already, guys. If you're just joining us, if you're also just joining us, please super chat in. We want to hear your thoughts, comments, questions, concerns, anything about BSG that you want us to talk about. We want to do so, so please let us know. And, support the channel at the same time.
But if you have no more, super chat questions, comments, then we'll wrap up soonish, because that's how these things have flowing conversation. So throw something if you want to talk about something else. If you don't, hey, there you go. That's the choice.
We kind of shower all of our praise on BSG that we can, and even a few little things that are. I'd have to rewatch it again to really and make a list of things that annoyed me or whatever. But
yeah, like I said,
every show's got stuff that's going to annoy me because it's me.
Well, yeah, there's whole episodes of DS9. I'm like, it's all right.
Yeah,
and we've talked about this many a time. When you get into late seasons of DS9, you don't even know what episodes are. There's just this is the DS9 arc, and there's like 6. And do you remember what happened in each one? No.
Yep.
No, you don't. Doesn't. It's just you know what I mean. And they don't. That's not what the show's about. But then, like I said earlier, the setup, I mean, the payoffs in BSG are so powerful.
Yeah.
There's not many of those in DS9 in the same way. It's not built that way, obviously.
You got to get to them. And a lot of people have a hard time getting through BSG for it being too dark or, the shaky cam and shit. And it's a shame because it's so well done that the payoffs are worth it. You just got to slog through it. And
but not because it's bad, though. It's just dark.
Exactly. Yes. A lot of people, a few people I know haven't watched it because it is so depressing, and they're dealing with their own issues, their own mental things, and they can't watch it because it just drags them down. And it started doing that to me at one point too. It's like, holy Christ, I need to stop watching this for a week. You know.
Well, I know someone who kind of hates soap operas because it's like, why would I want to watch personal drama? I get away from personal drama with television.
Yeah.
Why do I want to? It's like, why play The
Well,
Sims? I don't have to do chores when I could be doing chores. Like those things are pointless. Why watch a show that's dark when you want to not watch dark?
the thing with soap operas for me is just as frustrating because nobody talks to each other. I mean, they do, but they don't say what they fucking need to say that would just solve the problem. And one problem that should take 5 minutes to solve takes 3 months because it's designed to be like you can not watch it for a month and a half, come back in and know exactly what the fuck is happening. So Picard season 2 did that. It just dragged shit on way too long longer than it needed to. And it just gave me that PTSD of just get on with it. Just open your mouth and say words, and then the problem is solved, or at least out there. But no, soap operas are notoriously bad for that shit. That's why I don't like soap operas.
And I also don't think that you would ever give soap operas writing awards for quality dialogue. It's meant to feel like people doing everyday stuff. Like a few good lines.
I mean, I watched one soap opera to the end, and that was Passions. But it had that supernatural element to it. Timmy the Talking Doll and the Witch and all that. It was interesting enough that it held my interest. Plus, my girlfriend at the time loved it, so of course I had to watch it. But yeah, it was a soap opera that ended. I mean, some soap operas have been on the air for fucking God knows how long, right? And they keep going.
Well, because it's the day-to-day life of these characters. And I say characters, I just mean people they've hired to play people.
That stand in rooms and drink alcohol and answer telephones.
Because at a certain point,
have an evil twin.
If you've played a character for 25 years and they're just doing everyday stuff, you're just that person, right? You're not, how much they're playing a character.
Bill Barkley says, anyone got the Eagle Moss PSG ships?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
I've got pretty much all of them, yeah.
Yeah, and that was great because those models are very, very good CG-wise. They translated really well. I mean, they did art design just super well. Really, really super well.
Yeah, their original TOS Viper is really great. It's a really great model. One of my favorite Eagle Moss models, actually.
I think their classic reboot Viper is superb. It refines the original really well while still being clearly original, but refining it. The new one is meant to look more dorky. It's meant to be a sci-fi version, and it's dorky. But they're
Eric Chu, blame you.
Yes, I choose you. Yes.
I choose you.
Oh, the choo choo dance. How many chews can we do for Eric Chu? It's a Low Decks reference. If anyone doesn't know it.
Oh yes, choo choo dance.
See?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh dear. And just the acting, right? I mean, the two comparators here. Edward James Olmos gives an incredible performance as Adama.
Yeah.
For a man that keeps his emotions in and gives kind of a gruff, that's his voice, right? He shows all of the different layers. You see him be genuinely personable, crying, emotionful, in love, murderous, lost, suicidal. And all still while being a person, yet being a commander. And how many people in the entire world, seriously, will be able to having just because think about his perspective. He's had a big career. He fought in a giant war. He served his time. He's now doing a cushy, basic bitch assignment on a Battlestar museum. He's not doing anything military. Hasn't for years, possibly a decade. And now he's being tasked to lead everybody that's left. Not just this is it. And all of the weight of everybody left in the universe that's human is on your shoulders. And he does it with such grace and strength.
Yeah.
9
Secretary of Education. Everybody else gets annihilated, so she gets bumped right up to president.
Yep.
What the fuck?
And again, does a wonderful job. I mean, you talk about, right pill, right thing. Yeah. And then, there's some of the, two of the best episodes are the Pegasus ones, where Pegasus shows up, a higher ranking, who's of course significantly younger than Adama. He's been in his sort of late 60s. She's in his 40s, late 40s, early 50s. Yet they feel similar in age, but they're clearly not, because she's so much more hard-assed at the sharp edge of this razor.
Yeah.
And you know, they push the CG. They keep doing this great CG. It's the Blackbird culmination of that storyline. You got a lot of Six Baltar stuff. The sets were great because they were bought off another filming pilot. I think it was actually a Lost in Space pilot. They got filmed that year, that month, and they just bought the sets off them, like the space. So that's why the sets look the way they do. Yeah, those corridors are just literally the Lost in Space corridors for a part that didn't go anywhere. That's why they have full sets, because they had them sitting there and they just changed them a bit. And I love, you know, the Galactica's CIC is this giant cavernous room, and then Pegasus is a tiny room with some standing consoles. It does more than the Galactica's with like 1/10 the. It's like, yeah, more advanced, which is great because you don't need to build big sets. You just tiny sets. And then they blow her up.
Thank God.
No, it's beautiful. Go ahead.
Well, the Pegasus, yeah, but Admiral Kane, she could have gone from the get-go.
But I mean, I know she's just being a harder version of Ro, but just she sells that role just wonderfully. A hard-assiest of relatable-assed, and to have a literal gun cabinet of muskets, and that's her character trait. She likes the oldest of, you know, because those guns, you know, those sorts of guns that don't kill you, they make you hurt before you die.
And then there's Lloyd Bridges, Admiral Kane in the Pegasus in the original Battlestar Galactica. Kind of a hardline character, but then not, because it's Lloyd Bridges. I mean, yeah, and that's like one episode with the Pegasus in that one, where it like takes off and going whatever happens to it.
I was gonna say, yeah, it was a mystery. We know what happened.
She could come back at any point. So, but yeah, same model of the ship, so it wasn't a different next tier ship. I think it was just better equipped and better stocked than Battlestar was. But
what, so you're saying an active warship is better stocked than the museum? Shocking!
Well, it was, the Galactica wasn't a museum in the end.
Oh, sorry, I mean, okay,
it was just one of the fleet. It was just one of the.
Yeah, sorry, I meant, yeah. Sorry, I meant the new one.
Yeah.
Crazy. But guys, I think we're in final super chat time slot. If you've got a final thought or any thoughts, as not many thoughts have been said, so any would be cool, as we always say.
So say you all. All of you throw in a super chat. Oh
yeah,
you gotta see something. You know how BD1's been up here the whole time?
Yes.
He's got an upgrade.
Oh my God! This breaking news, everybody! Things are happening on the Trekyards command.
Oh, he's all blown out on camera. Got an LED upgrade package, so the eyes light up. The back does the twinkling thing. My video coming out on the Captain Foley personal channel on Wednesday is about the upgrade, and it's pretty cool.
So
looks like shit on camera.
So I thought you were going to say BD1 is going to upgrade to BD2, and you're just going to put a new piece there. Dear me. Yes. Well, we hope those are here. Enjoyed our discussion. I think, you know, the two shows are very different and very much parts of their time. As in the episodic helped DS9, the series helped BSG. The more mature writing ability of the writers for BSG really helped. The darker themes were not too dark, even though very dark. But you'd watch them each for different reasons, because they do not fill the same hole in your heart. And BSG, while it's not had the same longevity as I think it deserves, it's still extremely well regarded among sci-fi fans. You know, if I Google right now best sci-fi TV shows of all time, see what the first poll, Rotten Tomato, what does it say?
Hit that like button if you haven't, guys. Help us out. Super chat if you can. For the last super chat slot would be awesome. Oh, Ozzy, the show will be up.
Well, there we go. Rotten Tomato Battlestar Galactica is the #1 highest reviewed sci-fi TV show on Rotten Tomatoes. Well, there you go.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not surprised by that too.
That's impressive.
Well, I was joking until I saw it, and there you go. There we go. #1, Rolling Stones. Let's see where they place it. We don't care about 50. We care about. #1 is Star Trek. #2 is Twilight Zone. #3 is BSG. Rolling Stones. Space.com. That has got. That has got TNG. BSG is #2. So it's in top 3 of the first 3 things on whatever. IMDb, it's gone a bit weird. They think Silo is #1. From is #2. The Flash is #3. These seem unlikely. Okay. And Star Trek Picard above TNG. And Strange New Worlds above the other 2. That is all over the place then.
Yeah, that's some bullshit right there.
And Den of Geek has it as. See, they're all modern shows anyway.
Yeah. It's funny how TNG's higher than like the #1 and #2. They're different shows in their feel. I mean, yes, they're both sci-fi, but yeah, depends on the judging scale that you're using, I guess. But oh well. All right, let's close out this poll we got going on here. Which is overall better written, BSG or DS9? The winner, surprisingly, is DS9 with 66%. BSG comes 34%. So, interesting. That's a good question. And an interesting, shocking result. At least, well, not on a Star Trek channel. But
no, not on Star Trek channels yet. All right. Good. Well, join us tomorrow for David Bessig's Bessigverse live discussion chat. There are ships, there are tech, there are cameos, there are characters. Oh my goodness. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Lots of good stuff.
Yes.
Join us for that, guys, and then we will see you, of course, on Thursday for their TNG review of Conundrum.
With our best friend ever, who's been on the show the entire time, will be joining us. Yes, yeah. He's been our #3 man for 9 years now, 8 years now, and if you don't remember him, that's on you. You've been paying attention. Yeah. He always ends our videos, you know, just after our outros, he always comes in and we have like a half-an-hour discussion of after that, you know. It's
like our narrator.
Yeah.
Shows, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Stuart, he's more important than you, if I'm being honest, because he's in more episodes than you. I wish I could marry him. Like, he's that important to me. You're right. You know, he's like next level, but we can't because he's too far away because he's on the moon. Yeah, hard to get to the moon. And then Saturday, for your birthday celebration, tune in for that for sure. Well, hey, that'll be fun.
That'll be in the afternoon. I believe it's probably starting at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we'll go.
Glug glug.
Yes. Yes, it's picking on me day, I guess.
Yes.
Birthday, so.
Don't worry, Stuart. I'll get my comeuppance one soon. Yeah.
All right, guys. So that's our week laid out for you guys. Hopefully you will join us for those, and let's
have some fun.
Have some fun, exactly. Until next time, he is Commander Cockings.
He's Foley. Bye, guys.
Catch you all later.